Imagine a paradise. White, sandy beaches, crystal clear turquoise waters, and a vibrant culture that welcomes you with open arms. This is the Caribbean, a dream destination for millions. But what happens when that dream turns into a nightmare? What happens when the lifeline of this paradise is suddenly cut? This is the story of the Caribbean's billion-dollar gamble on tourism and how the COVID-19 pandemic brought it to the brink of collapse. For decades, the Caribbean has built its economy on one main pillar: tourism. It's not just a part of the economy. In many islands, it is the economy. Think about it. Hotels, restaurants, tour guides, taxi drivers, local artisans, their livelihoods are all woven into the fabric of the travel industry. In some countries, tourism accounts for over 50% of their entire GDP. It's a high-stakes game. When times are good, the rewards are immense. Foreign currency flows in, jobs are created, and infrastructure gets built. But this reliance also creates a massive vulnerability. It's like balancing the entire region on a single, glittering pinhead. And in 2020, that pinhead started to wobble. When the world shut down, the Caribbean's front door slammed shut with it. The first signs were subtle: a few canceled bookings, a bit of uncertainty, but within weeks, it became a full-blown crisis. Airports that were once bustling hubs of excitement fell silent. Cruise ship terminals, usually swarming with thousands of passengers eager to explore, were deserted. The silence was deafening. It wasn't just an economic slowdown. It was a complete and total standstill. The engine of the Caribbean had seized. For the people on the ground, the impact was immediate and devastating. Let's talk about Maria, a hotel housekeeper in Barbados. For 15 years, her job was her stability. It paid for her children's education and put food on the table. Overnight, the hotel closed its doors indefinitely. Maria, along with thousands of her colleagues across the islands, was suddenly unemployed, with no idea when or if she would work again. Or consider David, who runs a small catamaran tour business in Jamaica. His boats, once filled with laughing tourists, sat idle in the harbor, gathering dust. The income he relied on to support his family vanished. These aren't just statistics. These are real people, real families, facing an unprecedented crisis. The ripple effect was enormous. It wasn't just the frontline workers. The farmers who supplied fresh produce to the hotels had no one to sell to. The construction workers building new resorts were sent home. The entire supply chain, from the fisherman selling his catch of the day to the shopkeeper selling souvenirs, ground to a halt. Governments were in a terrible bind. Their main source of revenue, tourism, taxis, had evaporated. At the same time, they were facing a public health emergency that required massive spending on healthcare and social support for their newly unemployed citizens. It was a perfect storm. As the months dragged on, the situation grew more desperate. Savings dwindled. The vibrant, joyful streets of Caribbean towns felt subdued. The uncertainty was the hardest part. No one knew how long this would last. Was it weeks, months, years? The psychological toll was immense. For a region known for its resilience and spirit, this was a test like no other. Community support systems kicked in, with neighbors helping neighbors, but the scale of the problem was overwhelming. Faced with this economic abyss, Caribbean nations had to get creative. They couldn't just wait for the world to return to normal. They had to act. Some countries launched digital nomad visas, inviting remote workers to trade their home office for a beachfront view. The idea was simple. If tourists can't come for a week, maybe long-term visitors can come for a year, spending money in the local economy without putting a strain on the short-term tourism infrastructure. It was a clever pivot, a way to bring in foreign currency and keep some businesses afloat. Others focused on strengthening regional ties and promoting domestic tourism. Staycations became the new buzzword. While it couldn't replace the sheer volume of international visitors, it helped keep some hotels and restaurants open. It also fostered a renewed appreciation among locals for the beauty in their own backyards. More importantly, the crisis served as a massive wake-up call. It starkly highlighted the danger of putting all your economic eggs in one basket. Leaders and economists across the region began seriously discussing diversification. For years, it had been a talking point, but now it was a matter of survival. How could they build more resilient economies? The focus turned to other sectors. Could they expand their agricultural output to reduce reliance on imported food? Could they tap into the blue economy, sustainably using ocean resources for economic growth? What about technology and renewable energy? These weren't easy questions, and the answers required long-term investment and a fundamental shift in economic strategy. As the world slowly began to reopen, the Caribbean faced a new set of challenges. How do you restart a tourism engine safely? The tourism bubble was born. Resorts created self-contained, controlled environments where visitors could enjoy their vacation with strict health and safety protocols, minimizing contact with the local population. It was a delicate balancing act restarting the economy while protecting public health. It wasn't perfect, but it was a start. The planes started to return, slowly at first, but each arrival was a symbol of hope. Today, the recovery is well underway. The beaches are once again dotted with colorful umbrellas, and the sound of music and laughter has returned to the streets. But things are different. The experience has left a permanent mark. There is a deeper understanding of the fragility of their economic model and a stronger commitment to building a more sustainable and diversified future. The gamble on tourism paid off for a long time, but the pandemic revealed just how high the stakes really were. The Caribbean survived the storm, but the lesson is clear. Paradise can't afford to be so vulnerable again. The quest now is to build a future that's as resilient as it is beautiful. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this story insightful, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into the global issues that shape our world. We'll see you in the next one.